10, this is Randal on Air 4. You guys got targets out there?
Are you kidding me? We just broke the record. We haven't been in that area in several hours. We're actually getting inundated where we're at.
As it is now, the administration refuses to reveal how many people are sneaking across the border.
You need to make sure your child can speak Spanish.
We expect Democrats to labor day and night toward the destruction of their own country.
Immigration reform, if it is to happen, it has to include legalization.
By making these people come forward out of the shadows, out of that sub-rosa economy, we're going to help the United States.
They do it in so many ways. Democrat welfare babies terrorizing innocent people in the streets.
We have 1.8 million people coming across the borders, as the good gentleman from California has outlined.
Poison the schools with deceit, distortions of history, bashing of America's heritage.
We have millions more people.
Anyway, expect all that from Democrats.
Living in limbo, unprotected in our cities, in our towns, in the country. And if we don't do immigration reform, we're not going to solve either of those problems.
For the vast majority of people who are here, we will give you a path to legalization.
If we can get that second Republican, we have business and labor ready to sign on. We have all the religious community, not just the liberals, but the evangelicals.
Sadly, tragically, we have learned in recent years, John Boehner, if you want to go all the way back to Bob Dole, sure, especially John McCain, Lindsey Graham.
Where you two have come together to seek out a path toward immigration reform.
I will keep working with Chuck on immigration. I will continue to work with Chuck. I look forward to working with Chuck.
Let's create a system to bring them forward, allow them to settle their debt to society, and fulfill the necessary requirements to become law-abiding citizens of this country.
And we start with a surging tide of illegal immigration flooding over the border, all caught on video, not by the government, but by concerned citizens. So where is the Border Patrol?
Utter phonies and liars for going out to get elected and misleading the voters of America who are damn sick of these neo-Marxist pigs running America. Mostly in the Democratic Party, but now we find out with it in a lot of recent years, a bunch of them wanted to go along with George Bush's immigration amnesty program. Now, basically, they're all caving and giving into this one. Shit, they caved for Barack Obama's Medicare. They've not fought him on anything.
Omaha 10 called out a group of 21 on the south side. We're going to need another person over here. We got about 50 bodies out there.
What's your plan on that group of 20 or so that's outstanding?
Working a group of 37.
They don't fight him for decent schools. They don't fight him for his race hustling, thuggery, for all of the laws he's breaking.
The evidence supports what border agents tell us. Fencing in Arizona's border cities simply pushed illegal immigrant traffic farther out, where it's harder to stop.
What we've got, unfortunately, is as everybody knows, a Democratic Party filled with, you have to call them demonic. These are people who are messing with spiritual forces on the dark side.
The pledge will be led by the gentlewoman from Minnesota, Ms. McCollum.
If members and guests would please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And you don't get elected at the national level to the Democratic Party unless you're in you're in league, you're in agreement, in accordance with them.
Nobody in America understands what's going on along that border.
Republicans are another story. Some decent people in heavily conservative districts do get elected. Anywhere where there's a swing, slightly conservative district, the media will destroy any real conservative candidate for a Republican office. So what you end up with in those districts are
a bunch who call themselves conservative.
But they're liars. They're actually 1960s Democrats, maybe even 1980s Democrats, who just have a different act. And now we're seeing them.
Romney at the convention doesn't say anything. Obama, he's got an illegal alien on the platform.
Now we're seeing them take the last bricks down out of the edifice of America. Collaborating with Barack Obama, at the very least, refusing to stand up and fight for truth against him and the Democrats, which makes them worthless in the best case scenario. But in the worst case scenario, many of them are liars. They're just shills they got in thanks to the media. They stay quiet most of the time, except for the piece of garbage, John McCain, and his cousin garbage, Lindsey Graham, plus some others.
And people will try to say that they're doing jobs that Americans don't want to do. Baloney. These people, baloney. They're driving trucks. They're building homes.
This is them. They're destroying. They're setting the last steps to destroy the country. Why Sean Hannity has joined in this amnesty crap? Michael Medved, Hugh Hewitt, Pat Robertson.
We got to get rid of the immigration issue altogether. It's simple for me to fix it.
Hardworking, undocumented arrivals from Latin America, now eager to pay fines and pass background checks in order to join the American mainstream.
First, secure the border. Pathway to citizenship, done. You know, whatever little penalties you want to put in there if you want, but then it's done.
The community of children who are here illegally, or who are children of parents who are here illegally, and therefore themselves citizens, but they do not have, they live in neighborhoods without facilities, without athletic facilities, they don't have pools, they don't have soccer fields, and anywhere near the proportion that they need. Here's my pitch to the Republicans, and I wrote about it today. As you do regularization, immigration reform, do something for those kids. Try to, not just be angry Republicans saying, no, you can't vote, and try and be angry Republicans saying, no, you can't vote, you can stay here and work, and by the way, we're going to help take care of your kids. We're going to build some ball fields and some pools and some actual stuff they can use.
I think, folks, we've got to recognize that these Hispanics in our society are wonderful people. They're hardworking people. They're family people. They're all the things that you like.
I think you control the border first. You create a pathway for those people that are here. You don't say you got to go home. And that is a position that I've evolved on.
This is the biggest problem we have facing our nation. I created a film that Brian Kilmeade from your own network calls Oscar-worthy. But you can't see it in a movie theater. You can't see it at a film festival. I have been rejected everywhere, including Texas, Arizona, New York, try to counter the forces that don't want you to know about illegal immigration.
I don't know. These are decent men who, I don't know, well, Hugh Hewitt was for Romney, so automatically, he's a brilliant guy, but how could you be for Romney? Romney is a complete idiot, and he threw the fight, too. He actually threw the election by refusing to go after Barack Obama for Benghazi at the third debate. He threw it many, many times before that by refusing to go after Barack Obama for numerous other things. Just like McCain, coward, either a coward or a phony, pretending that he cares about conservative values.
I was down there, places with no fence, no lights, no border patrol.
And laboring day and night to defeat good men and women running for the presidency. Herman Cain, Michelle Bachmann, Rick Perry, others. You got McCain and then Romney shredding decent people to keep them from getting into the presidency. And then they give us this throw in the towel, nothing cowardly, throw the fight bullshit performance in the general election. Not fighting about the corruption of our schools, not fighting about the immigration, the fact that you can't even own a fucking house in the United States of America. We can't get a Republican who runs for president to even mention the fact that you cannot own a house. You cannot. I own, sort of, you know, whatever you call it, own one, a little 2-bedroom house. It's been paid off for 15 years, but I still have to pay the Democrats every year, or they'll come take it away from me, and they will bring guns, too. So you must be on another planet with another dictionary to think that I own that house. If failing to pay them means that they're going to come they have the right and will come take it away from me. It's bullshit to say that anybody in America owns a house. You do not own land either. And we can't get a Republican to even mention that. Lying to children in schools about evolution, about slavery, about the legacy of our country. Harping in schools about the flaws of this country, as Saul Alinsky taught them to do. Pointing at imperfections, demanding perfection of your opponents, getting everybody to expect that of America, completely removing the context of what other countries were doing during the years that they complain about the few flaws America had. And of the flaws America had, a lot of them were from Democrats. So keep those in. You know, the atomic bomb after World War II. America entered World War II with a Democrat in office, entered World War I with a Democrat in office. Just handed, well, let's go back a little further. Let's go back to Jimmy Carter, who handed the Muslim, whatever adjectives you want to put on with them, I call them murdering liars, of Iran, an entire country, and other countries that Jimmy Carter labored to give to communists. Then Bill Clinton gave Kosovo to the Muslims. Now you've got Barack Obama, who gave Libya and Egypt to Muslims. Democrats are literally arming the bad guys for World War III.
CBS News, here's Frank Sidipani.
It's only a matter of time before the United States sends weapons to the Syrian rebels. Senator Bob Corker, a member of the Foreign Relations Committee, spoke to CBS this morning.
I do think we'll be arming the opposition shortly. We're doing a lot more there on the ground than really is known, but we do have to change the equation.
And they've been doing it for a long, long time. You can't get a Republican presidential candidate to fight back against any of that. What's going on in the schools, the lies by Democrats, the lies by the piece of shit fake reporters, Dan Rather, Walter Cronkite, Brian Williams, Peter Jennings, Katie Couric, Diane Sawyer, David Gregory, Matt Lauer, everybody at CNN, everybody at MSNBC, Chris Matthews, obviously George Stephanopoulos, who used to work for Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton, as a top NKey advisor, now an ABC anchor. They lie. These people lie about America, about the history of America, about whites. They hush up an epidemic of violent racism from blacks in the inner cities. Democrat welfare babies all growed up. And they completely censor information about that. If it weren't for the internet, most of us would never have any idea that there's an epidemic of violent racism against innocent whites by blacks in the inner cities.
It shows a mentally disabled woman being mocked, spit on, and then punched in the face at a Sacramento strip mall. Here's Kula Giannoulias with what police are doing now.
Regular customers and neighbors say they weren't surprised at all by this video. They say this type of disrespect and abuse goes on all the time.
It's difficult to watch. A woman who appears mentally impaired is punched in the face. It all started while she stood in front of a donut shop where she is taunted by a group of guys who sound like they're spitting on her. Then she's shoved in the face. After that, she snaps and chases her attackers, asking why they're hurting her.
Why are you slapping me?
You can't, and the news people won't say a fucking word about it. Wow, they still pretend there's the legacy of remnants of white racism, which you have to scratch like hell to find any white racism these days. But you don't have to labor even a teeny bit to find a massive amount of black racism none of it will be reported.
It took place on a Baltimore City bus. They say the attack by 9 black teens on a white woman may constitute a hate crime. The woman's male friend and 2 other people were also assaulted, but not as severely. A 3rd passenger and the bus operator intervened in the attack and may have saved the woman's life.
Out of nowhere, I saw a swing come at me. I felt kicks, punches, stabs, everything. Like I said, and when they did this is when I started to scream. I could literally feel something crack in my eye. I was bleeding profusely from my nose. Blood was coming out of my eye, and blood was coming off my head. I have bruised ribs.
A white teen nearly beat to death after walking with his African-American girlfriend. Today, 2 of the 3 suspects charged with the beating facing a judge. Channel 7's Laura Gray was in court. She has the story tonight.
18-year-old Dante Lee looks stunned as the judge hands down his sentence.
With regard to Mr. Lee, the sentence of the court is a determinate sentence of 6 years, followed by 2.5 years of post-release supervision. Youthful offender status is for mistakes. This was not a mistake. Youthful offender status is denied.
Lee's brother, 16-year-old Antoine Blackman, receives the same sentence for admitting to his role in the gang assault of 19-year-old Brian Milligan.
A 25-year-old man attacked early Sunday morning. This group of thugs pummeling him outside of Mount Clemens gas station, then taking off.
All of that taking me to the fact that we can't get a decent Republican to run for president, and now we've got them caving, some of the lead Republicans caving. It wasn't G.W. Bush a piece of shit, too, during his 8 years? What trash. And he lied to people, too, passing expansions to Medicare and never, ever fighting back to defend either the people in his own administration or America against these liars, or even the kids in schools. He did not fight back to stop the lying that's going on to children. George W. Bush, piece of shit. And just like McCain. So they fit together. Really, I can't... McConnell, even Rand Paul, I think. I'm gonna check on that.
Lee? Pat, Republican Senator Rand Paul is endorsing a pathway to citizenship for the nation's 11 million illegal immigrants. Paul's message is, if you wish to live and work in America, we will find a place for you. He joins a growing number of Republicans who support immigration reform to broaden the party's appeal among Hispanics. It also comes as the Republican National Committee says it will spend $10 million this year alone to reach out to minorities.
Rand Paul is even going for, we gotta go. We can't kick 11, 15 million people out of the country. Bullshit. Self-deportation. Even if you couldn't kick them, no matter what, they're not the people you want in the country anyway. If a person does not have a career before he makes babies, therefore he's desperate to make money, so he has to go break the law to go into another country. So first of all, the very first thing about him is he doesn't even have any smarts. Then he doesn't have a worthwhile career. Then he's willing to lie in another country. He also doesn't give a shit about the people who are losing their jobs. His wife gets on food stamps. Any children they have in the country are automatic citizens. These aren't the ones that you want to make U.S. citizens anyway, despite this bullshit about them all being so hardworking and taking jobs nobody else wants. Well, they got to take jobs nobody else wants because they made shitty decisions from the time they were very young, and the only way to make it is to come somewhere where there are some jobs, and Americans have become lazy, and welfare Democrats have turned people into, Democrat welfare babies, and the country's full of them. They don't want to work, but I'm going to tell you something. You kick all the Mexicans out, and you let them farmers raise the prices up for picking food, you're going to find a lot, and welfare, And you're going to find a shitload of Americans out there in those farms. So don't believe their fucking lie about nobody's willing to go work those farms, pick those crops. There will be 10,000 people showing up for jobs tomorrow when those jobs are $12 an hour. And so what if we have to pay more for vegetables? To get 15 million illegal slackers out of the country, it's worth paying more for vegetables. You damn right. So that ain't my bitch, and don't lie about what I think or what's the best thing to do with the immigrants. When you deliver the news, Brian Williams, Katie Couric, and David Gregory, and the rest of you pieces of shit, liars, you get rid of the illegal immigrants. And I don't care what race they are. Stop calling me a racist because I want them out of here. I want them out of here because they lied to get here, and they're setting that example for their children. So when their children grow up, their parents are liars and slackers. So guess what we get? We get a nation filled with graffiti and violent Mexicans to join the violent racist blacks in the inner cities.
Hello there, thanks for joining us. They are the brutal criminal gang other gangs fear, Mara Salvatrucha 13, more commonly called MS-13. They have spread from prisons in the U.S. and Central America at an alarming pace, operating in 33 U.S. states where machetes are their favorite weapon. And now they're our problem too. Mike Drolet heading our global national investigation.
They've earned their reputation through blood and violence. Mara Salvatruchas, or MS-13. The most violent gang in North America.
In 2004 in Honduras, they attacked a school bus. In the attack, they shot and killed 27 people, and they hacked the women and children up with machetes. There was just no...
Anything that makes money, they're going to do it. The Hispanics have pushed the black dudes off the street corners in Los Angeles, and they've taken over.
Only one authority could direct so many of the Sureños in such a coordinated effort.
The gangs that have been involved in racial attacks are getting orders from the Mexican Mafia.
Racial hostilities have driven a sharp wedge between black and Hispanic gangs in recent years. There is now deep distrust on both sides.
Choose the Bissell Power Fresh Steam Mop right here at Lowe's.
Great situation. And now we've got fucking Republicans are caving on it. But get this, it's even better. The 15 million, they're sneaking into this legislation. While good Americans are sitting on their asses, checking out Facebook and renting movies and polishing up their boats. Good Americans who don't steal and they wouldn't lie to get into a country, but they're sitting on their asses while their country is being destroyed. Where was I? It wouldn't matter who it is. You don't want them here because of who they are, but you don't want them here anyway because we've got enough fucking people in the country already. We had 200 million people before they started allowing. They've allowed 110 million immigrants into the country since the census of 1970. 110 million immigrants. About 20 million, oh, that's where I got lost. About 20 million of those are illegal. The rest are legal immigrants that the Democrats and the phony Republicans and the people in the press who are hushing up are bringing into this country to destroy it, while good people are sitting on their asses mostly. But tucked into the legislation to create amnesty, which they won't call amnesty, is the fact that they're going to have hardship and mercy and compassion immigration for relatives of the 15 million they're going to bring in legal. So you can just figure 50 million by the time this little amnesty trick is over. America's already dead. You drive through the cities, you fucking know it's dead. It's dangerous to go there. All the white people moved out of the cities because they're violent, and we just don't. Nobody wants to fight. Everybody just wants to go relax, listen to music, and have their 2-3 car garage, their boat, their wife, the color TV, the big screen TV, everything just, and see who's laughing and liking you on Facebook now, more recently, not fighting back, so that the people of the inner cities just said, all right, you're going to get violent here, then we'll just move out 30 miles and drive in here for our jobs, because we're shit. You know, we gave up our country and surrendered. This is where it is now. There's probably no chance of stopping it, but at the very least, thanks to the web, the internet upload capability of places like YouTube and Vimeo and other things that you can take part in, that the citizen journalist can complain. Take me back to the formerly conservative talk show hosts that are now going soft on immigration. You know, they get the crap beat out of them every day for years and years and years, and I guess some of them, maybe they just go soft after a while. That's what's happening. But we can report. We can report who the hell is caving, who is giving in to this insane amnesty. It is insane. You don't do that to your country. If you wanted to bring in 15 million people whappo all at once, these aren't the ones that you would choose. But you don't want to bring 15 million people, even if they're the best and the brightest from all across the world. It's insane to your culture to do that. These are the people. These are the ones surrendering and helping the liars in the Democratic Party, the media, and the phonies in the Republican Party destroy your country where you don't even own your own land. But damn it, you sure own that big screen TV. Well, this is what you get. And you got your air-conditioned car, too. You got your lovely air-conditioned car. So you're always comfortable, always happy, always shopping. When you're not shopping, you're rushing home to check Facebook. Or watch sports, or a movie, a romantic comedy. This is what you get when you sit on your ass. In this country, with a Republican representative form of government, the citizen is called on to help run the country. But we didn't want to. We wanted to have fun, so this is what we got. We got the hateful, satanic Democrats, the liberal phonies who call themselves conservatives and they're Republicans, the complete atheist liars in the media, children being lied to every day in school, and moms and dads sending their own kids to those schools.
And there's an awful lot of good science in these books. But folks, there are some lies in our science books.
We are in complete collapse in this country, and guess who? Oh, and the churches. Oh my gosh, the churches have been feeding robot food to church zombies for 30, 40 years. They don't say anything about what's going on. Churches have become, pastors have become family and marriage counselors. That's all they do. They use 2,000-year-old stories to help people grieve their troubled marriages because they're marrying. They don't even have any idea how to be adults in this world, much less marry right. Therefore, it's natural that their marriages and their families would be in trouble. So that's what the churches are doing today. They're family and marriage counselors.
There are still some things we can do to cause the romantic house to sparkle a little bit, rather than be drab or dreary, right? Yeah, and if you want to have a romantic makeover.
Feeding robot food to church zombies. People will sit there and they're just lapping it up every day, every year. Hear about Elijah again, hear about Ahab, hear about David, and not refusing to cut the garment of Saul. All of the stories over and over and over, so nobody's fighting, really. Nobody. I mean, Rush Limbaugh's fighting a little, but he's outnumbered, and he's not fighting really as hard as he should be. When he gave in to that girl who is a slut, Sandra Flug, whatever it is, and he surrendered to her under pressure. He completely collapsed that issue. It was a great issue, and he should have had the guts to stand there and fight it, and he backed down. So who have we got fighting for us? Pretty much nobody. Michael Savage is a pretty good fighter. He's off the air. So really, I can't see anybody who we've got fighting for the fact that this country is in complete collapse, fighting against an army of Marxist, atheist liars, and almost nobody is taking up arms. They're watching TV, basically. Getting on the internet. That's what we're doing in the country. So if you want to know what happened to America, how America died, the people went to sleep. You want to know the leaders who did it? Here they are. These are the fucking leaders who betrayed their own country. Not to mention the scam, the sham of Supreme Court justices appointed by Clinton and others, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who routinely betray their oath of office and help overthrow instances like in Arizona and in California previously when the citizens rose up and said no more of our money to illegal immigrants. Then you get these Supreme Court justices who say tough shit. You cannot buck us. First, the media lies, the Democrats lie about the people who try to stand up and defend their own country. Then, when it all gets to the Supreme Court...
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court is ready to decide if states can force people to prove they're U.S. citizens before registering to vote.
The Clinton, some of the Bushes, just the string of cowards, Clinton, Carter, I mean, have put in that high office. You just can't fight them. They have you at every level. They brainwash you and teach you to be liberal in the schools and in the media. Then they beat the crap out of you if you veer away from humanist liberalism. They'll beat the crap out of you if you gain any kind of following.
The NRA's effort to guarantee that American mass murderers are the best equipped mass murderers in the world is not limited to murder.
I'm not saying he's lost his mind. I'm saying only that I wouldn't draft him in a sanity fantasy league.
They'll make you public and destroy your reputation in your own neighborhood. People will start looking at you and go, what an asshole, because they will. They know how to make somebody look like an asshole. It takes them about 3 days to completely destroy somebody's reputation. So, I mean, this is big, though. They've been destroying the country for years, but to legalize 15 million people at one time, not even counting the 100 million they've legalized over the last 40 years, this is like a railroad spike in the chest. It's huge. You could even let this piece of shit Marxist Barack Obama take away your guns. Later you could get them back. But you bring 100 million people into your country over 40 years, you allow 15 million all at once, you don't ever get that back. You're never kicking them out. You're never going to get rid of the crowds in those cities, the graffiti, the fact that you've got violent people who have been trained for years to hate whitey, and so it's a scary country now to even be white in the cities. Theft is everywhere, and the cities are ugly. They steal from you, they'll kick your ass, and it's ugly with graffiti and America's gone, and, you know, this is us. I know there are people out there standing up to fight on the internet. Some of them have their own websites. Some of the folks on Fox News, Glenn Beck, they're vastly outnumbered. They're 1 in 1,000, and their audiences of the people they reach, several million, maybe 40. I don't know. Maybe not that many. That many will vote Republican, 45, 50 million, but not that many will vote conservative. Constitution, God-loving, conservative, truth-seeking. And people who would actually stand up and defend their own children. I don't know how many would actually vote conservative. It's probably 20, 30%. But of those, it's basically all you can do to get them to pay attention to talk radio, then go out and vote. They won't go out and protect they even won't go out and protect their own children, or stand up in their own neighborhoods and march in front of a school with a sign to bitch and help wake people up to what's going on to the children inside those schools.
I said, well, sir, you told me 20 billion years ago all the matter in the universe was squished in this little tiny dot, and it was spinning faster and faster and exploded. I said, where did all this matter come from? He said, well, we don't know that for sure. I said, okay, now, sir, hold it. If I told you that I believe about 6,000 years ago God created the heaven and the earth like the Bible teaches, you're going to say, and where did God come from? And I don't know. But you said 20 billion years ago there was a big bang, and you don't know where the dirt came from. So basically, I believe in the beginning God, and you believe in the beginning dirt. Don't tell me my theory is religious and yours is science. Oh no, sir, they're both religious. The news media tries to make it look like it is religion versus science. I said, turn Termites chew on wood and they swallow it, but termites can't digest it. It goes into their stomach, and there's little tiny critters in their intestines that actually digest the cellulose. Now those little critters can't live without the termite, and those termites can't live without those critters. Which one evolved first? I thought it was a fair question, but it never came up. I don't know what happened. I think they lost my list.
March out in front of NBC Studios or NPR. Even they're not doing it. So maybe you have 1 in 1,000 doing something, and maybe you have 25-30% of the country who you can get to vote the right way, but you can't get them to fight, other than, you know, that really they don't fight. They'll vote the right way. They're kind of paying attention, and they know that the Democrats are satanic thugs. They know that the media is filled with atheist liars, but they're not doing anything. I drive a lot, and I don't see anybody marching, protesting. Maybe they're helping a little by jumping into comment sections after Associated Press deceitful news articles online, after USA Today lies, you know, wherever, CNN, wherever there's a comment section. You do have a considerable force of people standing up to spread truth there in the comment section, and that's a damn good comfort and an assistance. So you've got to add that group in, and maybe several million. It certainly isn't enough to combat the force that's conquering America. It's not enough. It's not nearly enough to do that. And of that number, they'd really need to start marching to really force the sleeping population to see that there's a big time action happening, big time problems that people are protesting.
This episode is about Freud's American nephew, Edward Bernays. Bernays is almost completely unknown today, but his influence on the 20th century was nearly as great as his uncle's. Because Bernays was the first person to take Freud's ideas about human beings and use them to manipulate the masses. He showed American corporations for the first time how they could make people want things they didn't need by linking mass-produced goods to their unconscious desires. Out of this would come a new political idea of how to control the masses. By satisfying people's inner selfish desires, one made them happy and thus docile. It was the start of the all-consuming self, which has come to dominate our world today.
So, yeah, there's maybe several thousand, maybe only several hundred in the country actively starting websites and making things happen and laboring. Perhaps a few million in the comment sections, when you need a few million to be standing up and fighting, so that 30 to 40 million to 50 million would begin rallying around them. I don't think it's going to happen. And guns are not the problem. You've already allowed them to disarm you anyway. They've already taken away your right to defend yourself on public streets in this country. They let you keep one in your home. I believe they don't even want to take those guns away from you, because you know why? It gives them something to tease you with, so that you can, every 3 or 4 or 5 years, think that you scored a victory when you stopped Democrats from taking away more gun rights. But in reality, they know they're not going to take them away in those examples. They just like giving you this false idea that you've scored some freedom, whereas they already took away your right to defend yourself with guns in this country many years ago. That's why people hide in their houses now, maybe, partially. Because it's the one place where you retain the right to defend yourself. And the one place on this planet, in your house in America, where you're allowed to be armed. But The gun issue is a non-starter. That's not your big problem. Your big problem is immigration. Your big problem is the schools, it's the liars in the media, and it's the phony Republicans. All right, signing off. April, what the heck is the date? 12th? Yes, April 12th, 2013, on Friday. Signing off from a dead country. One of many dead countries that somehow the people have all been put into this collective, massive drugged state where they, I call them happy airheads on caffeine. They seek pleasure regardless of what is taken away from them, regardless of what insanity is forced upon them.